Now, the organization called Mining Affected Communities United in Action, MACUA for short, wants the Pretoria High Court to compel the government to protect the rights of illegal miners. They want the government to provide food, water, as well as medication for the people that are still underground. Joining us to just talk about the impact thereof is David van Wyk, who's a mining analyst and joins us now. David, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it for joining us here on Newsfeed PM. Should government be footing the bill here?
Well, I think that we really need to begin to ask why the government is behaving the way it's doing with regard to these particular mine workers in this particular mine shaft. You know, in September 2022, Becky Cele met Sarel Lechanyani Sello, who is the biggest Zama kingpin in the country, at OR Tambo Airport after the killings in Tavern in Meadowlands. And, you know, Sello just was allowed to go free. Sello has an organization of 900,000 members, each paying 150 rands a month membership fee, which is protection money, which means that he probably makes about 180 million in a month. Now, the question that I have is, why are these people not being brought to the surface in this mine? Not by community members with a single string, but by a mine company that deals with mine disasters and accidents and helps with bringing people up. Because surely if you bring these people up quickly, you're not going to have to foot the bill for water and for food, and you will also be able to build a case against the Zama kingpins, because you'll be able to interview the people who come up from underground, of which 1,300, almost 1,400 have been brought up to the surface now. You know, the actions of the government really puzzle me, because now we've gone through court case after court case after court case with regard to giving these people their right to food and water and medicine, which are human rights, which are even given to convicted prisoners. These people have not been convicted. Those people who have come to the surface and have been in front of the magistrate's court, they got 6-month sentences or 6,000 rands fines. Now, some of them were deported back to Lesotho, and we have reports that the police buses that take them back to Lesotho and the places they come from, very often bribery takes place and people get dropped off along the way, and when the bus comes back from Lesotho, they get picked up and get dropped back again to where they came from. So, you know, really, I think that our government needs to come clean on this whole issue of Zamas and small-scale miners and so on, and what their involvement is with the kingpins. Sarel Lechanyani Sello is one of the richest men in South Africa. He has manipulated politics in Lesotho. He's manipulating politics in the Free State goldfields. And I'm quite certain that somewhere behind the scene in the Northwest Province, the same person is involved in this. The funny thing about South Africa is that these gangsters are well known to the public, they are well known to the media, but no one is pursuing them. You know, so we go court case after court case while we starve people, like the Boer starved, at Makapan's Gat Mokopane, Gosi Mokopane. They smoked him out of his cave there. We are smoking these people out of the Stilfontein mine in an old type of colonial settler type action, instead of bringing them up, getting them before the courts and actually dealing with the people behind them, the people who are making the money by exploiting them.
So, David, is that a sense then from you that there's actually some sort of political agenda here at play? I mean, why do you think, from your analysis, from perhaps your thinking, why do you think government is stalling when it comes to this? Why are they not giving perhaps sufficient updates when it comes to this process of bringing out these Zamas?
We've got local government elections coming up in 2026. And we know that in the Free State goldfields, in the previous local government elections, there were lots of allegations about candidates being funded and their campaigns being funded by the very same Sarel Lechanyani Sello, and in other places as well, and in the last Lesotho election as well. And, you know, maybe the preponderance of Mozambicans at this particular mine site is an indication that there is a change of ownership busy taking place, getting these people out or to starve or whatever, so that maybe Cyril Leganyani-Sello and his crowd can get in there. You see, I'm really getting very concerned about the fact that we are blocking off mines without dealing with the network of people on the surface who are actually behind these particular operations. Also, I would like to still ask the question as to why are we not prosecuting the people who don't close mines properly and who do not actually do the necessary rehabilitation or the necessary re-engineering, as I say all the time, a repurposing of these mines so that mining towns can stay alive. The more difficult the situation is in mining towns, the more you are going to get this problem of people going underground to dig for gold in order to survive, but also then being taken control of by syndicates. And I've mentioned the person in charge of the major syndicate in South Africa, who meets with very senior officials at the international airport at Oliver Tambo without getting arrested. And we ask ourselves, why is this taking place? What is happening here? Who's involved? Who's making money out of those guys that are underground there?
Yeah, I just want to, of course, put forward to our viewers that any allegations made, of course, here by yourself regarding Mr. Leganyani have not been verified at all.
These are allegations, but they have been covered in the media. I'm not the first person to make these allegations. The police identified Cyril Sello in the shooting that took place in Meadowlands at the tavern there in which people were killed.
Sure.
He was one of the suspects. And after he was identified by the police, he met Becky Cele at the airport and he was let go. He could leave the country.
No. I mean, I fully understand that, David. I think all I'm trying to make sure that our viewers note is that some of those allegations that have been put forward have not yet been verified by our very own Newzroom Afrika. And of course, more on that still needs to be done with regards to that. That's all I just wanted to make sure our viewers are aware of. At this stage, how do we fix things, do you think, then, David? Because, of course, while we may have all these issues at play, we're asking government why it is they're dilly-dallying when it comes to this. How do we actually get this done? Is it just going to have to be another court case after another court case?
Yes, we have to fix things. We have to make an audit of all the abandoned mines first and foremost. We then need to determine which of these mines would be safe to operate in and which ones would not be safe to operate in. Then we've got to register small businesses because we've got to transform from large-scale mining to small-scale mining and artisanal mining because the large-scale mining companies are leaving the country. But towns are dying because there's no more economic activities that are taking place there. Then we've got to create a central buying agency to buy all the gold so that the gold do not go into the pockets of the syndicates. And the central buying agency then can create a payment arrangement through which some money is retained to create safety officers, engineers, geologists, and all other requirements that there would be for the smaller scale mining operations that are there. And we need to do so very quickly because the situation is spiraling out of control. In other instances, we can repurpose the mines for other purposes, to extract methane gas for commercial purposes, for example, in the Free State, or to use the mine wasteland for solar farms and so on, so that we create jobs in mining towns, and that would stop people from going underground in order to survive.
Yeah. One must also note then that on November the 15th, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu had announced the establishment of a task team led by a few mining experts as well to conduct this rescue operation. It's meant to continue until at least Christmas Eve then. But to date, even that rescue effort hasn't actually gotten underway as yet then. From here, is it just a case of funding? Is it just going to be a case of we're going to play the blame game, do you think, then, David? Because at this point, it's going to have to be about just getting those miners out. That should be first priority, right?
Well, there's a 50 billion rands mine closure fund to which all mines have contributed while they were still operational. That 50 billion mine closure fund, a fraction of that can be used to take these people out from underground and then to seal that particular mine shaft. I think that the task team for artisanal mining I don't understand why it's even there, because we contributed to the artisanal mining policy over a 3-year period with Legal Resource Centre, ILRIG, and the National Association of Artisanal Miners. And that document is there in government. It's a white paper. Why are we not implementing it?
Very valid questions here that need to be asked as well to police officials, as well as the Northwest Community Safety MEC Vessels Murweng as well. So hopefully we can get more comment from them. David, appreciate your time as well as your candor when it comes to this conversation, because it clearly does need to be a very firm one that needs to be had, as we still have quite a few of those illegal miners then stuck in that mine in Stilfontein there. David van Wyk, mining analyst.